On the other hand, success, knowledge, skills, life attitude and self-awareness. The knowledge bit, I don't think it's the most important thing. On the other hand, our system is really designed around this. The standardized tests are designed around this. It's probably to a large degree going to determine if kid's going to get into, the college, university, or whatever he wants to. So, if you're going to value it as early as possible in life. Because what I'm, in a very general sense, seeing, and I don't know if that's the case in this specific school, but that we start to value memorization less early in school. Because it's actually not that important. You see actually a lot of primary schools or K-8 schools, we should work more on skills and life attitude and stuff like that. But the problem is that we're for a while not going to train their memorization skills, but then when they're 15 we're going to say, but you need to know how to do it anyway. But then we haven't practiced it. If we've practiced it for 8 years, then at 15 they can do it. But if they're 15 and they never really memorized anything, and when they're 15 it's going to be the first time they have to do it, well, of course 15 is the ideal age to tell a student that they need to do something completely different, and that we as adults know that that's good for them, and then they're going to listen, right? That's 15, best age to do it. No, of course not. They're not going to listen to you anymore. So they need to make that shift way before then. So if they're going to go onto a path of classical education that's going to require standardized testing, practice their skill of memorization early on. For the rest, well, I call it 80-20. Make sure that you learn the most important things, skip the rest. And as a general tip, learn speed reading. This is the thing that helped me the most in my life. Speed reading, to go through a lot of materials. And somebody once gave me a tip, stuck with me for the rest of my life. I'd rather speed read 5 books on a topic than read 1 book at a regular speed. And what I would like to add to that is combine those two. First, speed read 5 books to know which one you should read, and then read it slowly. But then you've got more perspective from more different authors. And then pick the book that is actually worthy of being read, from cover to cover, and then read that one. Skills. The most important skills that I find with gifted kids that make the difference are what they call the executive skills. We've got different parts of our brain, and the prefrontal part of our brain is kind of like the director or the coordinator of the rest of the brain. And that helps us regulate the rest of the brain. It makes sure that you guys are doing a really good job of sitting still and listening. That means that you're suppressing all kinds of primal tendencies right now, which is a good thing, helps with sociable behavior and stuff like that. But that needs to be trained. If you've never done that, you don't know how to do it. Here again comes a challenge for gifted kids, because some kids have never focused more than 2 minutes, because they've never had a problem that was worthy of more than 2 minutes of their attention. But that might pose a challenge in the future, because if they do get a challenge that's going to take 10 minutes, they lack the physical skill of sitting still for 10 minutes, of focusing their brain for 10 minutes, simply because they've never done it. Same with emotion regulation, planning, task initiation is one of them. Task initiation is the time it takes from the moment you start with something and the moment that you're actually doing it, and doing that in an organized fashion. I tape a number of my presentations and I take out all these pieces. The most popular little piece of clip ever was my kid's got an IQ of 145, but he can't clean up his own room. Because so many parents could relate to that. It's not rocket science cleaning up your room, but somehow it doesn't work. And why is that? A lack of task initiation. As soon as more than 2 steps are required to get anything done, they get lost in the process and they get drawn, divergent brain going somewhere, and then they don't know how to finish it. Probably as a parent you might have had the doing the things in the right order challenge by a kid screaming, "Mom!" running around naked, completely wet through the house saying, "Where are the towels?" As opposed to thinking first you get the towel and then you get into the shower, as opposed to the other way around. So this all has to do with executive skills, learning to regulate yourself. This also is a social emotional skill, or mostly a social skill. Can I suppress my first thing that I want to say for maybe something that's mildly wiser to say? Some things that maybe would be better left unsaid. Because some of these kids will actually hear themselves say it as they're thinking it, as opposed to first thinking it and then deciding if it's a good idea to say it and then saying it. Life attitude, we could talk all day about this. Growth mindset, so joy of learning, learned optimism, hopefulness, so setting a goal and having faith bless you, having the faith that you will reach it, and self-awareness. A lot of our school system tends to compare our kids with an average student. We've created this mythical virtual average student, and we're going to say, you know, you are 7 years old and 4 months, so you in theory should have 1 year and 4 educational months. That's, you know, 14 educational months. So this is what an average kid should be able to do at that point. As if there are actually kids that are exactly at that point. And if kids completely equally develop in all levels at the same time. It's actually not a whole lot of people that do that. And you know, when you're working, people probably appreciate for you. Wow, you're analytical. And they're not going to say, well, your languages aren't all that. Well, you're an engineer, or the other way around. You know, you're a writer. You're not analytical. We're happy with that. We're not going to say, you know, well, you're an engineer, but let's first do like 3 years of language classes, so you really fine-tune that part. But it is what we do in education, and often we judge our kid by their worst grade as opposed to, you know, celebrating their best part. So what are your positive sides? So what are your talents? One of the quotes I really like by Martin Seligman is, you should spend your life living your signature strengths, and you should work enough on your weaknesses so they don't hinder you in that process. So that's a very specific definition. You know, work on your talents, design your life around your talents, and make sure that your weaknesses aren't in your way. So this could be working on your executive skills, by the way. It doesn't mean that your executive skills have to be the best in the world, but if you can't focus for more than a minute, then probably you can't be like a physics string theorist. Like that is not going to coincide. So if that's your weakness, you have to learn how to focus enough so you can be that physicist you want to be, or that entrepreneur you want to be. But then you've got a reason. It's not the goal itself, but it's to make sure that you can do what you want to do.